Verse 10, then she that is mine enemy. And that word she that's been put in there is an insertion. I'd love to be able to ask the translators why they'd call the enemy a she here. I think it has in mind whoever the enemy might be. And at this time, as we'll find out down here in verse 12, it's Assyria, and there were other nations aligned with him, so that it would be the enemies of God's people. Then let me read verse 10 with that in mind. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her who said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trampled down like the mire of the streets. In other words, God will ultimately triumph. But the thing that is tragic is that because of the sins of the people, why, they have to be judged. And the enemy asks the question, you've boasted of the fact that you serve God. Where is he? Why doesn't he help you? Why doesn't he deliver you? You've said that he would. Well, the enemy doesn't see the righteousness of God. The enemy doesn't see that God is dealing with them in a righteous way. He must judge them. And now will you notice verse 11, in the day that thy walls are to be built, in that day shall the decree be far removed. In other words, there was a period in the history of Israel when he put them out before the public, scattered them. They were sent down to Egypt to become a nation. Then God hedged them into that land, gave them the law, made them a peculiar people, and kept them from mingling with other folks. Then, because of their sin, they're sent into Babylonian captivity. Now, they had a ministry to the world, both at the time of their containment and then again when they were scattered throughout the world. They have been that kind of a witness. Now, will you notice, he goes on to say in verse 12, in that day also he shall come even to thee from Assyria, and from the fortified cities, from the fortress even to the river, from the sea to sea, from mountain to mountain. Assyria leading the attack against the people, and of course Assyria took the northern kingdom into captivity. Now verse 13, notwithstanding, the land shall be desolate, because of them that dwell in it, for the fruit of their doings. You see, the land and the people are pretty well tied together. Now, that land was not always desolate as it is today. You see, when the blessing of God comes upon them, it will also come upon that land, and it has not come upon them. Now, he speaks in a very wonderful way. Verse 14, feed thy people with thy rod. Now, back over in the 6th chapter in verse 9, the rod there was a rod of judgment. Now, here it's a rod of comfort. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And I think it simply means the staff of the shepherd. You see, the staff of the shepherd could be used in two ways. It could be used to protect and help the sheep. It could also be used to discipline the sheep, and it was used in that way. Therefore, feed thy flock with thy rod. God disciplines us, and he instructs us that way. The flock of thine heritage, who dwell solitarily in the forest, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead as in the days of old. These are great grazing lands up in the north and across the Jordan River.